So glad to see GTA 6 reaffirmed for a fall 25 launch. I wanted to ask.
ÜberHighlights, der Kanal, den du suchst, GTA 6 News, die immer mehr Bock machen. Abonnier, bleib dran, verpasse nichts, hier geht's rund, das ist der Hit.
Wir gehen jetzt in den Earning Call, ja?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. My name is Abby and I will be your conference operator
In der
today.
Zeit gucken wir ein paar Bilder an.
At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Take-Two third quarter fiscal year 2025 earnings call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's
Wollen wir
remarks,
so
there will be
gucken
a
oder
question and answer
mit
session.
Bilder?
If you would like to ask a question during that time, simply press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question,
Mit Bilder?
press star 1 a
Lauter?
second time.
Mach ich.
Thank you. And I would now like to turn the call
So?
over to Nicole Shevins, Senior Vice President of Investor Relations and Corporate Communications. You may begin.
Dankeschön für die
Good
ganze
afternoon.
Subshit.
Thank you for joining our conference call to discuss our results
Danke
for the
für die
third
10
quarter
Schweizer
of fiscal
Franken.
year 2025 ended December 31st, 2024. Today's call will be led by Strauss Zelnick, Take-Two's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Carl Sladoff, our President, and Lainie Goldstein, our Chief Financial Officer. We will be available to answer your questions during the Q&A session following our prepared remarks. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that statements made during this call that are not historical facts are considered forward-looking statements under federal securities laws. These forward-looking statements are based on the beliefs of our management, as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to us. We have no obligation to update these forward-looking statements. Actual operating results may vary significantly from these forward-looking statements based on a variety of factors. These important factors are described in our filings with the SEC, including the company's most recent annual report on
Wir
Form
machen so.
10-K and
Okay,
quarterly
Chat, wir machen
report
einen
on Form
Kompromiss.
10-Q, including the risks summarized in the section entitled Risk Factors. I'd also like to note that, unless otherwise stated, all numbers we will be discussing today are GAAP and all comparisons are year over year. Additional details regarding our actual results and outlook are contained in our press release, including the items that our management uses internally to adjust our GAAP financial results in order to evaluate our operating performance. Our press release also contains a reconciliation of any non-GAAP financial measure to the most comparable GAAP measure. In addition, we have posted to our website a slide deck that visually presents our results and financial outlook. Our press
Danke für die
release and
2
filings
Euro.
with the SEC may be obtained from our website at take2games.com.
Danke für die 5
And now I'll
Schweizer
turn the call
Franken.
over to Strauss.
I'm pleased to report
Strauss
that we
celebrated.
achieved solid results during the holiday season. Our net bookings of $1.37 billion were within our guidance range, as significant outperformance in NBA 2K helped to offset moderation in some of our mobile franchises.
NBA.
At the same time, our operating results surpassed expectations, led by the upside from NBA 2K, as well as a shift in timing of expenses that benefited the quarter. We're reiterating our fiscal 2025 net bookings guidance of $5.55 to $5.65 billion and our outlook for full-year operating performance. While third quarter operating results exceeded expectations, we expect the fourth quarter to be affected by a continuation of current mobile trends, as well as the shift of some operating expenses into the period. Looking ahead, this calendar year is shaping up to be one of the strongest ever for Take-Two, as Sid Meier's Civilization VII launched in early access today with the official launch on February 11th. And we also plan to release Mafia: The Old Country in the summer, Grand Theft Auto 6 in the fall, and Borderlands 4 before year-end.
Der hat's doch mal
We
wortwörtlich
also remain
bestätigt.
confident in Zynga's ability to create new
GG,
mobile
alle Mann, ein
forever
fettes
franchises,
GG. Und eine
as
6 in den
demonstrated
Chat.
by their ongoing success with Match Factory. We're exceedingly optimistic about the commercial potential of our titles and believe they'll have a transformative effect on our business and our industry over the long term. As we execute on our mission to create our industry's most innovative and engaging entertainment experiences, we remain highly confident that we'll achieve sequential increases in and record levels of net bookings in fiscal 2026 and 2027. Now turning to our business highlights from the period. NBA 2K delivered a phenomenal quarter, yielding significant upside to our forecast. To date, the title has sold in over 7 million units, and engagement was extremely strong compared to last year, with recurrent consumer spending up over 30%, daily active users up nearly 20%, and monthly active users up nearly 10%.
Heute wird es sehr viel
With
Geld gehen, nur zur
community-inspired
Info.
enhancements to gameplay, major technological
Es
updates,
ist noch nicht vorbei,
and the
wartet noch.
addition of new game modes, the team at
Es kommt ja
Visual
noch zu den
Concepts has
Fragenrunde
once
auch
again
noch.
demonstrated their ability to deliver innovation to this beloved series while also solidifying its position at the center of basketball culture. Additionally, 2K continues to expand our industry-leading basketball franchise with NBA 2K Arcade Edition, My Team, NBA 2K Mobile, and NBA 2K Online in China, all of which contributed to another highly successful year for the NBA 2K franchise as a whole. The Grand Theft Auto series remains our industry standard bearer for excellence, and to date, Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold in over 210 million units worldwide. GTA Online delivered a strong quarter, led by its holiday update, Agents of Sabotage, which players praised for its depth, new upgrades, and array of content. Moreover, GTA Plus continues to grow its reach, with membership for the quarter
Danke für die
increasing
10 Euro, mein
10% year
Bester.
over year. Rockstar Games
DJ.
continue to expand the audience for Red Dead Redemption 2, which has sold in more than 70 million units to date. The title is currently enjoying its highest level of concurrent players on Steam. In addition, Red Dead Online engaged its audience further during the period with the release of the fan-favorite Halloween Pass, featuring seasonal-themed bonuses and rewards.
Digga, das sieht auch geil aus, ne?
Turning to mobile, recurrent consumer spending grew mid-single digits. While this was somewhat below our plan, we remain highly optimistic about Zynga's future. Toon Blast and Toy Blast both delivered double-digit growth, led by engaging features including new event types, improved player profiles, and enhanced tuning. Match Factory is performing very well and remains on track to become Zynga's second-largest title by the end of this fiscal year in terms of net bookings. We'd like to thank the Team Peak for their strong
Danke für die ganzen
execution
Spenden.
and for creating one of the
Manuel,
top-grossing
Dankeschön,
titles in the
Dankeschön.
puzzle genre.
Wir haben ja gleich das Spendenziel
While
erreicht.
Empires and Puzzles performed below our expectations in the quarter, we're confident in the
Wir
future
werden
of
gleich
this
alles
highly
zusammenfassen
profitable
übrigens,
forever
Chat,
franchise.
ne?
Our
Nur
team is
zur Info.
launching new event types and corresponding heroes, as well as increasing in-game rewards. Zynga continued to leverage the zeitgeist of pop culture and broadened its partnerships with leading entertainment brands and personalities, including Words with Friends with Bravo's Real Housewives, Zynga Poker with actor-comedian Rob Riggle, and Power Slap with
Hat er
TKO.
Jiggle Wiggle gesagt?
Our teams are growing our direct-to-consumer offerings and deploying key learnings across our portfolio. During the holiday
Auf
season,
YouTube
we
haben wir
see strong
900 Zuschauer
double-digit
auch.
D2C conversion in several major titles, and we're taking action to maintain this momentum. We are confident in Zynga's continued ability to launch successful new titles, as well as brand extensions for some of our console IP. In the quarters ahead, we look forward to launching new hit mobile experiences, including the latest installment of Zynga's highly successful racing franchise, CSR3. In closing, we're forecasting calendar year 2025 to be an inflection point for Take-Two. From the groundbreaking release of Grand Theft Auto 6 to the unmatched pipeline that 2K is set to deliver. As we introduce hit products to our passionate communities of fans, we're confident that we'll usher in a new period of growth and returns for our shareholders. I'll now turn the call over to Carl.
Thanks, Strauss.
Er hat einfach
I'd like to
gesagt, wie
thank
es
our teams
läuft.
for delivering another strong quarter and for continuing to captivate and engage our player communities with the highest quality entertainment experiences.
Chat, wenn was
We are
Wichtiges kommt,
excited to
schreibt
bring
ihr,
to
okay,
market
bitte.
several releases during the remainder
Bin auch
of
voll
fiscal
aufgeregt.
2025. On February 11th, 2K and Firaxis Games will launch Sid Meier's Civilization 7, a highly anticipated, revolutionary
Civilization haben wir
new
gesehen.
chapter in our epic 4X strategy franchise. The reception for the game within the media has been very positive, including GameSpot, who said that its gameplay remains unrivaled and engaging for countless hours. Civ 7 has already set a new franchise record for pre-orders, and player sentiment is extremely positive, with the title recognized as the most anticipated game of 2025 during the PC Gaming Show in December. We'd like to thank the entire Firaxis team for once again challenging players around the world to take one more turn in this beloved series that has engrossed players for more than 30 years. On February 28th, 2K and HB Studios will launch PGA Tour 2K25, the latest entry in our golf simulation franchise that will appeal to both casual and hardcore golf fans. The title
Golf.
features 3 of the major championships with their respective courses for the 2025 season, several franchise advancements, a more immersive and customizable My Career experience, and a robust suite of creation tools from leading equipment and apparel brands. In addition, fans can look forward to a diverse roster of pros at launch, including executive director and all-time great Tiger Woods.
Golf.
On March 14th, 2K and Visual Concepts will launch WWE 2K25.
Jörg, grüß dich.
Players
Jörg,
on
hello.
PS5 and Xbox Series X and S will enjoy the
Was hat er
Island,
geschrieben?
an all-new interactive and online WWE-themed world that provides an immersive experience where players can prove they're worthy of the attention of the tribal chief. WWE 2K25 will also include an all-new Bloodline-themed showcase, new brawl environments, match types and stipulations, and the largest ever roster with over 300 playable superstars. WWE 2K25 will be supported with a series of add-on packs that can be purchased individually or together as part of the season pass. In addition, 2K and Netflix are collaborating to bring WWE 2K exclusively to mobile devices this fall. Looking ahead, we are highly optimistic about our planned pipeline for fiscal 2026, which includes Grand Theft Auto 6 launching this fall. This summer, 2K and Hangar 13 will transport players to the brutal criminal underworld of 1900 Sicily in Mafia: The Old Country, which builds upon the legacy of
Kommt im
2K's
Sommer
popular
25,
organized crime
Chat.
franchise that has sold in more than 35 million units. Our announcement trailer received an outstanding response, and we expect the excitement to grow as 2K and Hangar 13 unveil more about the game leading up to its launch. 2K and Gearbox Software are creating
GTA 6
something
wurde wieder
truly
bestätigt.
special with Borderlands 4, which promises to take the series' signature gameplay and storytelling to an all-new level. At the Game Awards, 2K and Gearbox revealed a new trailer which introduced the exciting new world of Kairos and a brand new villain, the Timekeeper. Borderlands 4 has quickly become one of this year's most anticipated games, and players can expect an incredible action-packed experience from
Noch eine
Gearbox,
halbe Stunde geht der
the
Call.
studio that created the looter-shooter genre. In closing, we look forward to releasing these groundbreaking titles in the coming year that will set us in motion to deliver the strongest multi-year growth trajectory and pipeline in our company's history. I'll now turn the
Priob,
call over
Dankeschön
to
für deinen
Lynn.
Sub. Dankeschön.
Thanks, Carl.
Übers
Good afternoon,
Playtime
everyone.
ebenfalls.
We delivered solid third quarter results led by the power of our diversified business. During the period, our
Bitte
teams
komm,
brought
pack doch jetzt
innovation to our
aus.
existing franchises, enhanced our relationships with our player communities, and made outstanding progress on our eagerly anticipated pipeline.
Das
I'd like
Beste
to
kommt
thank
nun
our
mal zum
teams for
Schluss,
their
das ist so wie es
disciplined
ist.
execution and continued focus. Turning to our results, we achieved third quarter net bookings of $1.37 billion, which was within our guidance range of $1.35 to $1.4 billion. We delivered outstanding performance in NBA 2K, which helped offset moderation experienced in some of our mobile franchises. Recurring consumer spending rose 9% over last year, which was in line with our guidance and accounted for 79%
Jörg,
of net bookings.
we
NBA 2K
speak
grew
later,
over
okay?
30%,
Also
which
on
greatly
stream.
surpassed our forecast,
Also not
led by new features and innovation
unbedingt
in our
live,
game modes.
when you not
Mobile
can.
increased 6%, driven by the addition of Match Factory and Strength in June Blast, Toys
Rockstar
Blast, and
Games
Words with
Mitarbeiter ist
Friends.
einfach hier im Stream.
However,
Alle
this
mal
was below
Hallo
our
Jörg
guidance
in den
of
Chat,
low
bitte.
double-digit growth, primarily due to underperformance in our
Ja,
hyper-casual
dann geht ja
mobile
5 von Red
portfolio
Redemption
and
2
Empires
gearbeitet.
and Puzzles, and as anticipated, Grand Theft Auto Online declined. GAAP net revenue was $1.36 billion and was flat to last year, while cost of revenue declined 13% to $600 million, as the prior year included an impairment charge related to acquired intangibles. Operating expenses increased by 10% to $892 million. On a management basis, operating expenses rose 8% year over year. This was favorable to our forecast, largely due to a shift in timing of expenses into the fourth quarter. This shift, along with the outperformance of NBA 2K, drove operating results that were above the high end of our guidance range. Turning to our outlook, I'll begin with our full fiscal year expectations.
Gleich kommt die Frage.
As
Die
Strauss
Fragen kommen immer am
mentioned, we
Ende,
are
Bro.
reiterating our net bookings outlook range of $5.55 to $5.65 billion, which represents 5% growth
Oh, das ist
over
nice.
fiscal 2024. The largest contributors to net bookings are expected to be NBA 2K,
the Grand Theft Auto series, Toon Blast, our hyper-casual mobile portfolio, Match Factory, Empires and Puzzles, the Red
Ihr
Dead
redet echt wie
Redemption
ein Bot,
series,
hast recht.
Sid Meier's Civilization 7, and Words with Friends.
Ich will jetzt nicht
We're raising our recurrent
dazwischenreden.
consumer
Wir
spending
werden einiges
forecast to 5%
zusammenfassen,
growth,
okay?
which represents 78% of net bookings, driven by the phenomenal performance we are experiencing in NBA 2K, which we now expect to grow low double digits. Mobile is now expected to grow low single digits as we are factoring in the current business trends.
Das ist
And
KI.
Grand Theft Auto Online is still expected to decline. We project the net bookings breakdown from our labels to be roughly 49% Zynga, 34% 2K, and 17% Rockstar Games. We forecast our geographic net booking split to be about 60%
Rockstar Games
United
macht nur
States and
17%
40%
von denen aus,
international.
krass.
Non-GAAP adjusted unrestricted operating cash flow is expected to be an outflow of
Ich dachte
$150 million,
70%.
which is unchanged from our prior forecast, and we remain on track to deploy approximately $140 million of capital expenditures, primarily for game technology and office build-outs. We continue to expect GAAP net revenue to range from $5.57
Mein
to
Lieblingsrapper, Yo
$5.67
Olli.
billion, while we now expect cost of revenue to range from
Danke für die
$2.41
ganzen
to
Subs.
$2.44 billion. Total operating expenses are still expected to range from $3.77 to $3.79 billion as compared to $5.83 billion last year. On a management basis, we expect operating expense growth of approximately 10% year over year, which is unchanged from our prior guidance and is largely due to an increase in ongoing marketing support for Match Factory, as well as other mobile and immersive core launches planned for the year. The addition of Gearbox and higher personnel costs,
Details.
partially offset by savings from our cost reduction program. Excluding incremental marketing and the addition of Gearbox, our operating expenses are
Great
expected to grow
details.
low single digits over last year. As it relates to our operating performance, while our third quarter results exceeded our expectations, we are maintaining our outlook for the fiscal year as we are factoring several dynamics, including strength in NBA 2K, offset by a continuation of the
NBA
mobile
chat.
trends we have been experiencing, and the shift of some operating expenses in the fourth quarter. Now moving on to our guidance for the fiscal fourth quarter. We project net bookings to range from $1.48 to $1.58 billion compared to $1.35 billion in the prior year. Our release slate for the quarter includes Sid Meier's Civilization 7, PGA Tour 2K25, and WWE 2K25.
Gut, dass ihr alle im Stream dabei seid, weil ich werde den Stream danach offline nehmen müssen.
NBA 2K,
Wegen den Leaks.
the Grand Theft Auto series, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Toon Blast, Match Factory, our hyper-casual mobile portfolio, Empires and Puzzles, WWE 2K25, and Words with Friends. We project recurrent consumer spending to increase by approximately 3%, which assumes a high teens percentage increase for NBA 2K, partly offset by declines in both mobile and Grand Theft Auto Online. We expect GAAP net revenue to range from $1.52 to $1.62 billion. Operating expenses are planned to range from $900 to $920 million. On a management basis, operating
Die reden
expenses are
heute viel über
expected to
Geld, das ist
decline
normal.
approximately 2% year over year, which is primarily driven by a more normalized level of marketing for Match Factory, as the
Checken wir mal
title
die
has
Quelle
now been in
aus,
the market for over
was
a
sich
year,
aktualisiert
as well as
hat.
savings from our cost reduction efforts. In closing, we are forecasting a milestone year ahead of us, and we look forward to showing our fans and the global
Mad
gaming
Max.
community how our new titles can take our industry to another level of creativity. We are also optimistic that the chapter ahead will set us on a path to achieving new financial goals, including reaching a record level of scale, enhancing our profitability, and unlocking significant value for our shareholders. Thank you. I'll now turn the call back to Strauss.
Endlich, Alter.
Thanks, Lainey and Carl. On behalf of our entire management team, I'd like to thank our colleagues for embodying our core tenets of creativity, innovation, and
Strauß,
efficiency,
alle mal Strauß in
and for
den...
delivering another
Chat.
consecutive
Wir
quarter
brauchen
of
so einen
strong results.
Strauß-Emote von dem
To our
Vogel,
shareholders, I
Digga.
want to express our appreciation for your continued support. We'll now take your questions. Operator?
Thank you. And we will now begin the question and answer session.
Jetzt kommen
If you
Fragen
have
und
dialed in
Antworten.
and would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad
Please hold
to raise
the
your hand
line.
and join the queue. If you would like to withdraw your question, press *1 a second time. If you are called upon to ask your question and are listening via speakerphone on your device, please pick up your handset and ensure that your phone is not on mute when asking
Jetzt
your
kommen die
question.
Fragen, Digga. Jetzt kommen die Fragen.
Again, it is
Wir
*1
brauchen
if you would
spannende
like
Musik,
to
oder,
join the
Chat?
queue. And your first question comes from the line of Doug Kreutz with TD Cowen. Your line is open.
Hey, thank you. When you originally bought Zynga a few years ago, part of the thesis was that you saw the potential for revenue synergies down the line, and I think most of us took that to mean marrying your existing IP to their mobile skill set. I know you're not going to talk about specifics, but as you look out at the pipeline for the next few years, do you feel like you're getting closer to realizing some of those synergies? Is that something that is a key component of your optimistic outlook for the next few years? Thanks.
Thanks for your question.
Krass, man.
Actually, at the time, it was pretty clear that while bringing legacy core IP to mobile could be an opportunity, I also noted that the biggest hits in mobile are native to mobile, and there are precious few examples in the marketplace of very big mobile successes that are based on core game IP, Call of Duty Mobile being one of them. That said, we actually are working on some interesting projects that we have not announced yet, which we feel good about. What I did identify as an area of revenue synergy that has come to fruition, which is building our direct-to-consumer business inside our mobile business, which was a combined project between Take-Two and Zynga that we kicked off very early, and that has turned into a very significant business generating meaningful incremental contribution.
Great, thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Eric Handler with Roth Capital. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the question. I'm going to keep it on the mobile side of things as well. One, you had said Match Factory was, I believe, going to be either break even or profitable at the end of fiscal 25. Is that still the case? And then I'll follow up.
Weil es ein Earnings Call ist, verstehst du? Call, Anruf. Bro, hab ich auch
Yes,
erst
so
gedacht.
Match Factory.
Lainey's going to take that.
Schreibe dich an, Alter,
Yes,
chill.
so Match Factory towards the end of the year is going to start to turn profitable. The title is doing extremely well. We're continuing to do a lot of marketing for the title. So it definitely is towards the very end of the year where it's turning profitable, but the game is continuing to do better and better as the game stays in the market.
Okay, and then just broadly speaking with mobile, it did seem like there was some
Voice
broad-based
crack gehabt.
overall. Are you seeing the market's becoming just more bifurcated, that, it's only the biggest games that are doing well now, and you have to keep spending a lot to keep those games doing well?
No, that's actually not the case. It's still a pretty broad-based business at Zynga.
22 Minuten.
And it's one of the things that is so appealing, we think, about our mobile business. In the same way that our console business, we think, reflects the best collection of owned intellectual property in the industry, our mobile business, I think, has the greatest sort of breadth of owned and licensed IP in the mobile business, which we think is protective on the downside and offers great opportunity in the upside. There are not the same kind of mobile tailwinds that the industry experienced up till mid-22.
Wenn wir in diesem Stream 1500 Follower schaffen,
and then the industry slowly returned to growth. But the growth is still at a much lower rate than we would like. But it has yet, and I don't believe it will, turn into a kind of top 5 business. There's still a lot of opportunity for the top 50 or 100 or even 200 titles to make a difference. There's one other challenge in the business, which is, as you know, in the mobile business, unlike the console business, we and our competitors do not capitalize development costs, even after technical feasibility. And your marketing expenses, of course, are currently written off as well, which is true for all of our businesses. But in the mobile business, you spend a lot of money on UA in the belief and hope that it will come back to you in a subsequent period. We're very conservative in the way we do that, but nonetheless, that burdens our current results. So the more hits you have in mobile, the worse your current results can actually look for a period of time. And that's one of the things that we did see with Match Factory. As Lainey said, we expect that to turn, and we're going to begin to benefit from that extraordinary hit in the coming periods. We also hope that we'll have other big hits coming on the mobile side. So it's a really good story for Take-Two and its Zynga division. It's a somewhat less good story for the industry, and it is not an across-the-board great story for Zynga in that a couple of our legacy titles, most notably Empires and Puzzles, have faced some challenges. But that's not an industry problem. That's a game problem. That is a problem that we're addressing, and we're already seeing some good news.
That's helpful. Thanks, Strauss.
And your next question comes from the line of Andrew Maroke with Raymond James. Your line is open.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. One on NBA to start. Obviously seeing some pretty good rebound.
NBA,
there, no
yo,
pun intended.
man, NBA,
But
we're
how much
waiting
of
off
that do you
this
think is
fucking
just
shit,
kind of
man.
one, the comp effect of the Gen 8 transition
I
issues
love
that you had
NBA,
last
this
year,
is
and how much
Fußball
is
mit
just kind of an
Fans.
underlying resonant success with the NBA fan base?
So I think on the certainly on the PC side of the business, it's a lot has to do with Gen 8
NBA auf
to
die
Gen
1, alle
9,
mal
and they're
1 in den Chat.
benefiting from that without question. But honestly, the game is just continuing to innovate, and the quality is amazing. And the folks at 2K and VC, Visual Concepts, have year upon year proven that they've been able to come out with new modes, new innovations. Not everything works all the time, but this team is just, they define what sports gaming is, and they define what innovation is. And I think there are enough design changes in this game that have really just accrued to our benefit. And we're really excited about that. And we still feel that that we've got a lot of upside from where we are right now. So
Jetzt welche Kategorie
generally
sollen wir
speaking,
lieber
we're
streamen?
very pleased about the performance of the NBA. We think there's a lot of greenfield in front of us. And the Gen 8, Gen 9
Danke
piece
für die
was
20
a bit of a
Bits.
headwind for us historically, but no
Just
longer.
Chatting oder lieber GTA 5? Was
All right, much
passt besser
appreciated.
dazu?
And maybe one more kind of along those
Denke
lines.
ich
But
auch,
with your
man. Just
franchises
Chatting,
that
ne?
have bigger audiences but maybe take a little while between releases, thinking like Mafia and Borderlands, how does your approach to building excitement around those launches differ from franchises with faster release schedules? And how has the response to those two games been among their communities versus your hopes? Thanks.
Look, I think we market everything as though it's a brand new title. We never sort of draft on prior success. And we also need to communicate to consumers that there's an element of what is tried and true and beloved, and that there's an element of new, which is, for example, what we always do in
kann nicht mehr
Civilizations.
anrufen, oder?
Today is early access day for Civ 7. And
Der
once
Earning Call läuft
again,
gerade,
the
Bro.
team
Der
at For
Earning Call
Access has
läuft gerade.
pushed the envelope. It's mostly been really, really well received. It's also received a little bit of criticism too. So I think in all instances, we benefit by having a franchise that gives us a marketing umbrella, but we never
Leute,
rest on those
gechillt
laurels.
bleiben, ja?
We
Alles
still
wird
have
gut,
to
solange
be
ihr
very
Erfolg seid.
engaged with our consumers to let them know what we have, when it's coming, and that it's worth engaging with.
Ja, die reden über NBA, Bro. Es gibt nichts zu übersetzen.
And your next question comes from the line of Corey Carpenter with JP Morgan. Your line is open.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for the questions. Carl, could you just expand a bit on the NBA game changes? The
Mach mal einen Screenshot von, immer von Rekord von Zahl von Zuschauerzahlen.
Console change. And Strauss, for you, now that we
Ich
have more
liebe dich auch.
details on the
Dankeschön, mein
Switch 2 that
Bester.
have been released and confirmed, just curious how you
So
think
viel
about the
Liebe heute.
opportunity
Kuss, Kuss.
to expand your relationship with them going forward. Thanks.
I'm sorry, to take the second one first. Expand our relationship with whom?
Oh, now that we have the details on Switch 2.
Sorry,
Morgan ist ein großer
I missed
Investor,
the
weißt du das
Switch 2
echt?
part. Look, we've had obviously a long-standing relationship with Nintendo, and we've supported the platform when it made sense for the individual release. There was a time when
Warum
Nintendo
enttäuscht? Es
platforms were
gab doch
really
schon
geared at
Top-Neuigkeiten.
younger audiences, and that was reflected in our release schedule. And that, now today with Switch and potentially with Switch 2, the Switch device can
10
support
Jahre
any
verheiratet bin
audience.
ich, Bro.
And as you may have noted, Civ 7 is available now on Switch. So while we have nothing specific to report, we actually would fully expect to support Switch.
That is the
And
big boss.
Carl's going
Dankeschön,
to
mein Bester.
comment on your question regarding which elements of NBA 2K, really have excited the consumers this time around.
Sure. So we introduced a bunch of new features that were designed for the core players. And I think things like the new shooting and dribbling mechanics, there's a new badge progression system that was very well received. A smaller city, which really concentrates the activities so you don't have to run around as much to get to the interesting things that players can do. There was a return of the old NBA 2K Parks courts that people love. And there was also a full
GTA 6, 30
overhaul to
FPS
the
auf
My
Switch, wie
Team
kommst du
mode.
drauf?
So quite a bit of innovation for us.
Switch
Thank you.
wird es nicht kommen, auf gar keinen Fall. Zur NBA, ja. Digga, haben die jetzt gerade echt
Do we have
ein
another
Problem?
question?
Achso, die warten immer noch auf sein. Der hat einfach aufgelegt. Er hat einfach aufgelegt, alle weil er fett ist. Oh mein Gott. Ein Investor hat bei Take-Two gerade aufgelegt. Kommt morgen der GTA 6 Trailer Nummer 2.
The next
Your
question.
next question comes from the line of James Heaney with Jefferies.
Ruf an,
Your line
ruf
is
an.
open.
Kann man anrufen, Chat? Wie ist die
Okay,
Nummer,
great. Yeah,
Digga?
thanks for the question. Lainey, can you just talk about the right level of marketing spend needed to support the launches of your new titles? How soon before launches should we expect you to begin ramping up your marketing efforts, and how does that impact the ramp of expenses? Thank you.
So in terms of the marketing, it's around the launch of the title, but in more recent years, it is spread a little bit further along, especially if there's an online environment of recurrent consumer spending with the title. So the title's budgets are usually around the same size as they were in the past. They really haven't gotten smaller, even when we have titles that are new versions of previous releases.
Virgins? Habe ich Virgins
There's just
gehört?
so much importance in terms of marketing and getting people excited about the titles. And it's just usually different types of marketing than it's been in the past. So there's a lot more digital marketing and marketing to our consumers and analytics and different ways of getting to our consumers than we have in the past. So
Wow, wir sind
it's
voll weit
usually a
gekommen.
bigger amount at launch and then spread over the period of time that the title's life cycle.
Mikrofon verwenden.
Great.
Hello, I have a question. Hallo?
And we will take our next question from
Yes,
the line
hallo?
of Matthew Cost with Morgan Stanley. Your line is open.
Hello, I have a
Great,
question.
thanks everyone for taking the question. On the Netflix partnership for WWE, I'm just wondering how you evaluate the attractiveness of those opportunities in terms of partnering with new distribution modes like Netflix.
Hello, excuse me.
And if those will become financially material or if they're more nice to have going forward, and how you think them through. That's question one. The second question is just about some media reports in the past couple of months that you may have started using a new mediation partner for the ad inventory at Zynga, and that you may have received a payment, I think one of the articles said, of $150 million to do that. Is that accurate? And if so, how and when would that payment be accounted for?
Oh, shit.
I'll take the first question, and Lainey will take the second. We have numerous distribution partners in the business, and we have a great relationship with Netflix in particular, and we'll evaluate an opportunity primarily to see if it benefits our consumers. We want to be where our consumers are. We're not precious or religious about limiting them to a particular platform, or, for example, even our own platform. We have an opportunity for consumers to come directly to a store that one of our labels has, or obviously to work through the app stores, to work through third parties. We have physical distribution, and we've also worked with subscription services, and we've worked with Netflix before. In every instance, there are obviously economics related to the particular opportunity, and we try to tailor the opportunity to the consumers we're trying to reach.
So when it comes to
and Lainey, you'll take the question about mediation.
Yeah, so in terms of the economics of the deals, we haven't given any detail on what they
Noch
were
10
around this
Minuten
deal. But when we
voraussichtlich,
do
vielleicht
account for
länger.
things like that, it is usually spread along with the value of the overall deal to the organization.
Great, thank you very
Mobile
much.
Games juckt halt auch keinen, ne?
And your next question comes from the line of Chris
Also, ich weiß nicht,
Scholl
ob ihr
with
wegen
UBS.
Mobile
Your
Games hier
line is
seid.
open.
Great,
Bitte,
thank you. Lainey,
bitte.
I recognize in recent years you've been investing ahead of the new pipeline. As we start to see the benefit of these immersive core titles coming to market, can you just revisit how you're thinking about cash flow generation relative to the guidance you had given historically? And alongside this ramp, how are you thinking about capital allocation and the options you have available to you? Thank you.
I'm sure. So when we think about going forward in the next couple of years and the strong cash flow that we expect to generate from our pipeline, our capital allocation plans definitely include paying down some of our debt over the next couple of years. But we also have a lot of acquisition opportunities available to us. So it's possible that if we make some acquisitions, the timing of the capital allocation plans could be adjusted based on that. So I think there's a lot of things that are big opportunities for us going forward, and all of that will be available to us.
Okay, great, thank you. And if I can just fit in one more with Civ 7 launching, can you just help us think through the uplift you're factoring into your guidance, and how does that expectation compare to prior iterations of the franchise? Thank you.
So if you're referring to next year, we're in the middle of our budgeting process right now, so we're not providing any specific guidance. We do expect to give that out during our May call. But with that said, we're really excited about the pipeline that's forecast to release next year, and also that's released in this quarter. And as we've mentioned, we remain highly confident that we'll achieve sequential increases and record levels of net bookings in fiscal 2026 and 2027.
KI-Bilder.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Michael Hickey with Benchmark. Your line is open.
Hey guys, Strauss, Carl, Lainey, Nicole, nice quarter. Thanks for taking our questions.
Bitte frag doch
Just two from
wenigstens.
us. Curious on your fiscal 26 pipeline to 3 games. Are you reaffirming launch and timing expectations, or is this more of a continuation of the previously provided slate with updates to come from your studios as new information becomes available? And the second question is on Project Ethos. It looks like Michael's now gone from 31st Union. So just curious how leadership is transitioning within the studio and how this impacts the future of the game. Thanks, guys.
So on the first point, yes, we did today reaffirm our schedule through the remainder of the calendar year. I think we were pretty clear about that. And regarding 31st Union and Project Ethos, we are super grateful to Michael for the great work he did in bringing this project to us and spearheading it and getting it to the stage that it's at. He's going to continue in an advisory role, and for that we're also grateful. The transition leadership will be provided by a combination of 31st Union and 2K executives, and we feel highly confident that we're going to deliver a great project over time. When we remain fully committed to Ethos, we're still really excited about it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
And your next question comes from the line of Jason Bazinet with Citi.
Oh, Jason, das
Your
ist
line
ein
is open.
Zeichen. Jason,
I just had a
bitte
very
give me
simple
a sign.
question. The $1.9 billion that sits on the balance sheet for capitalized software, should we look at that as sort of apples to apples in terms of your accounting policy versus where you were 5 years ago? Or is there some change in accounting that would cause that number to
Warum
be
fragen die nicht
marked?
nach
I'm just
GTA
trying to get
6,
a
Mann? Die haben
sense of it.
safe
Should investors look
Maulkorb
at that as
bekommen.
indicative of potentially the quality or number of games that are going to unspool onto the income statement over the next couple of years?
No, nothing has changed in terms of our policies. That's the capital software for the games that have been put up on the balance sheet based on the technological feasibility
Ich
of
glaube auch,
those
dass sie nicht
titles,
fragen dürfen.
and they'll get amortized as those titles release over the lifetime of those titles.
Understood. Thank you.
Komm jetzt.
And your next question comes
Das
from the
Beste
line
kommt zum
of
Schluss.
Omar
Komm jetzt,
Dasuki with
Digga.
Bank of America. Your line is open.
Bank of America, let's
Hi,
go.
thanks.
Komm.
So glad to see GTA 6 reaffirmed for a fall 25 launch. I wanted to ask, how much of the total number of fans that have ever touched GTA and have brand awareness of GTA could potentially be reactivated once this GTA 6 launch actually happens. I gather that there is a much smaller percentage of those, a small percent of those fans that today are highly engaged. But with the launch of GTA 6, it will become an intergenerational franchise, the first title having been released around the year 2000. So I could very easily see a dad playing GTA with his son after having not played the game for a couple of decades. So do you have a sense, of relative to the current base of players that's highly engaged, what the base of lapsed players that may potentially come back could be? Like, is it 1 times as big, twice as big? Any kind of framework there to help us think about this launch would be great.
Well, I appreciate the question and the sort of the sentiment underlying the question. It sort of falls into the category of how high is up, and I decline to ever predict that. We believe that arrogance is the enemy of continued success. We run scared. We're looking over our shoulder. Our competitors are not asleep. So what do we do about that? We try to be the most creative, the most innovative, and the most efficient company in the entertainment industry. And Rockstar Games in particular seeks perfection in everything they do. And we believe that if we do that right and we focus on delivering for consumers, that's our best opportunity to succeed. To answer your question mathematically, it's pretty interesting if you look at GTA 5, because that title crossed 3 console generations and still remains a best-selling title, having sold in over 210 million units. GTA Online, now over 10 years old, still has enormous ongoing engagement. So there's certainly evidence that if you give consumers what they want, they will show up for it and they will stick around loyally for a very long time. Equally, we have enormous respect for how hard that is to do. With regard to the upcoming release of GTA 6, obviously this is a console release. We know what the current console install base looks like. So, there is the broad universe of console owners to look at, and that is something to be mindful of. At the same time, we don't spend a lot of time looking at sort of attach rates, which I think is basically the question you're posing, because that'll take care of itself if we do a great job. Now, are we aware of who our consumers are, and do we know how to market them and target them? We do. We have an extraordinary corporate consumer database with, I think, nearly 1 million records in it. We observe, of course, all privacy regulations, but we are able to market to a significant portion of that database. So we are mindful of who's been engaged with GTA and GTA Online previously. We're mindful of those who we believe will be interested in the title going forward, and we can tailor our marketing accordingly. But we genuinely don't spend a lot of time thinking about, well, is this going to be X number of units or Y number of units, because that doesn't change anything that we can do. We focus on what we can affect, and we let the outcomes take care of themselves. And I'm sorry, I said 1 million consumer records. I meant 1 billion.
Thank you for your response.
I was only off by 3 digits, so,
Got it.
And your final question comes from the line of Clay Griffin with MoffettNathanson. Your line is open.
Great. Good evening. Thanks for taking the question. Strauss, love to get your...
I cannot hear the operator. Is the operator speaking?
Strauss, can you hear me now?
Wie keinen Bock hat,
Hello?
einfach nur.
Do we have
Mr.
any
Zelnick,
more
are you able to
questions?
hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
And
Hello?
Mr. Zelnick, are you able to hear us?
Bei Strauss ist gerade
Ich kann
Döner-Teller
hear.
gekommen, hat
So we
geklingelt.
Okay, now I can hear again.
Okay. Perfect. So,
Sorry,
Mr.
am I
Zelnick, you
coming
have a
through
question.
now?
Clay Griffin with MoffettNathanson.
Yeah, hey, sorry for the technical difficulty. I'd love to get your impression of the momentum of the Roblox platform. You talked about, hey, we'll be wherever our consumers are. Is that do you view that as a substitute product? And what's your vision? What would have to happen for you guys to develop content for that platform? Is it a viable destination for the type of content that Take-Two produces?
Hat er echt wegen Roblox
Look,
gerade gefragt, Digga?
Roblox is a combination of a platform and a collection of games, user-generated games, largely. And I understand that they market themselves as a platform. However, from our point of view, it is a competitive situation. So while I wouldn't rule anything out, it's hard to imagine that we would see Roblox as a destination for a Take-Two labels game. But again, if there's a reason for us to be there, then we would contemplate it.
Understood. And then just maybe turning back to NBA 2K RCS, I assume that you're aware of the kind of mid-quarter slip that happened at your competitor's live service. And credit to the team at Visual Concepts for a great product, but it does seem that we're seeing kind of small-ish changes to these live services are driving bigger results than what we're used to, kind of intra-quarter. I wonder if that's your impression. I know it's like as you add complexity, perhaps maybe we're all losing a little bit of visibility. Is that your impression, or is that it's just a function of NBA 2K executing at a really high level versus maybe some mistakes elsewhere?
Yeah, I really can't speak to competitors and the decisions that they've made, but certainly it's very important in these type of live services games that the development of the game and the actual monetization piece of the game are hand in hand, and you really can't have one or the other. And one thing that we've learned over the years is that the most important thing about developing, particularly for sports games, that you can't have massive innovation year over year, and you have a significant live services component, is that engagement is everything. And the more the consumer engages, the more ultimately that you're going to be able to benefit from the economics of the business. So for us, it's not we don't necessarily look at the business about tweaking the economy. Of course, we do that, but the idea is really more the focus of the teams, marketing and development, is to increase engagement, and that's all about the quality and the execution. The tweaking of the economy never is the leading factor. It's always about engagement and quality of the experience. And I think if you stray from that, that's when I think you run into trouble.
Totally understand that, Carl. I think I was maybe referring to kind of tweaks in actual gameplay. You mentioned some of the improvements that were made at NBA 2K. It seemed I wouldn't call them massive changes, but it had an outsized effect, and it sounds like we saw the opposite at your competitor. And so the question is, like, are you starting to see that as a general rule where perhaps maybe you're losing some visibility, maybe even internally, for some of these live services intra-quarter?
Morgen geht's, ja, Mann.
I'm going to take that. No, I don't feel that way. I think we are utterly focused on trying to present the very best possible experience. Sometimes we fall a bit short in certain areas. Sometimes we miss the boat a little bit. True of our competitors as well. But I think the focus remains intense on every part of the experience.
Das mit dem Release ist schon geklärt. Wir wissen das schon lange. Wir reden gleich darüber.
And that concludes our question and answer session. I will now turn the conference back over to Mr. Strauss-Zelnick for closing remarks.
Well, first, thank you for attending, and I'd like to apologize to all of you for our technical difficulties today. Hopefully the message came across despite that, because the message is a powerful one. We had a solid quarter for which we're very grateful, and we have what we believe is an extraordinary release schedule through the rest of the calendar year. And of course, our expectations are very rosy indeed for fiscal 26 and 27, where we expect sequential increases in net bookings, and we expect to set new financial records. All of that is a reflection of what our creative and business teams do every day, which is to seek excellence in everything they do. And none of us could be more proud than we are of those teams and their commitment, their loyalty to this enterprise. And we are so grateful. So I just want to say thank you to all of my many thousands of colleagues around the world, many of whom are listening right now. Thank you for your fine work. I'd also like to thank our shareholders for your support over these many years. We aim to continue to deliver and hopefully to over-deliver going forward. So thank you all.
And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's conference call, and we thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Digga, die haben uns einfach rausgeschmissen wie Hunde, Digga. So. Chat. Wir hatten heute den Earning Call. Normalerweise hat sich immer Strauß-Telling persönlich verabschiedet, ne? So. Sie haben uns einfach vor die Tür geschickt. Verpisst euch jetzt, genug gehört. Ja. Wir hatten ja 3 Szenarien und das Gelbe ist eingeschritten. Und zwar, dass sie wieder uns vertrösten zum 5. Mal. GTA 6 läuft reibungslos ab und wir können euch versichern, dass GTA 6 Herbst 2025 released wird. Das ist das gelbe Szenario, was wir auch schon durchgekaut haben. Grünes Szenario wäre natürlich ein festerer Termin oder deswegen Rockstar Games sich demnächst meldet. Deswegen habe ich auch das hier vorbereitet, falls das in Kraft trifft, was da passiert. Digga, ich fühle mich gerade so, ne? So fühle ich mich gerade, schau. So fühle ich mich gerade. Das ist Take-Two, Digga. So fühle ich mich gerade. Das ist Take-Two.
And what exactly is your problem?
Also sinngemäß natürlich, ne? TikTok sportlich, ja? TikTok sportlich.
Exactly is your problem?
So, Chat. Gute Neuigkeiten gibt es trotzdem. Also, wir haben wenigstens kein Horrorszenario. Bedeutet, wir können weiter hoffen, dass GTA 6 nicht verschoben wird. Und der Mai ist jetzt endgültig die Entscheidung. Also im Mai müssten die Bescheid geben, weil mehr Zeit haben die nicht. Digga, wir werden die ganze Zeit 5-mal hintereinander jetzt schon vertröstet, Alter. Langsam kotzt es mich auch an. So ist nicht, Alter. Das kotzt mich langsam an, Bro. Es ist zwar jetzt mittelgute Nachricht, ja, kann man sagen an der Stelle, mittelgut. Zum 5. Mal dürfen wir dasselbe hören. Wir wollen natürlich ein bisschen mehr sehen. Jetzt hoffe ich, dass jetzt die Tage endlich mal irgendwas kommt, Digga. Es gibt's doch gar nicht, Bro. Da wird über NBA geredet. Da wird über NBA geredet. Da wird über Roblox geredet, über Mobile Games. Und dann kommt so ein Depperle und sagt einfach, wie sieht's aus mit dem Live-Event von GTA 6 in Roblox, Bro? Digga, was laberst du, Alter? Was für Roblox, GTA 6 Event, Digga? Was denk... Digga, der war 50 Jahre alt und spielt Roblox. Kann schon ahnen, was er da auf der Suche ist, Digga. Und dann kommt er mir noch mit der Info, so, sie müssen jetzt auflegen. So, nein, warte, ich hab noch eine Frage. NBA, der hat dann noch mehr reingeschissen. Bro, der hat schon reingeschissen mit Roblox-Event. Und dann, wie sieht das aus mit der NBA? Der wollte Stimmung retten, so, weißt du? Der dachte, der ist Dings. Der dachte, der ist Mainstream. Der dachte, alle reden über NBA. Ich rede jetzt auch über NBA. Weil Roblox war ein bisschen cringe. Der hat die Stimme, diese maskuline Stimme von Strauß-Zelnick gehört und dachte sich, jetzt muss ich aber hier umkehren, ne? NBA kommt bestimmt gut. Digga. Und Strauß-Zelnick, was war mit dem los? Es wird echt Zeit, dass diese Reise voll wird hier, Digga. Ich gehe da an die Info und frag mal, was das soll. Ich sag dann, na, hör mal. Na, hör mal, wie heißt na, hör mal auf Englisch? Na, hör mal auf Englisch. Hear me, oder was? Oder wie heißt es? Google-Übersetzer. Listen up. Genau, ich sag so. Listen up. Oder hear me out. Und wenn sie mich abführen zum Revier, Dankeschön für die 40 Bits, ja. Wenn sie mich zum Revier abführen, dann schrei ich, I did in! Rockstar Games, I did in! Nee, Spaß beiseite. Ja, natürlich hätten wir, das Traum-Szenario ist leider nicht wahr geworden, aber wir haben wenigstens noch ein gutes Szenario. Das gelbe Szenario ist eingeschritten. Wir haben keine Verschiebung. Wir haben auch nichts gehört, also war auch alles gut. Wir haben halt zum 5. Mal dasselbe jetzt gehört, Digga. Du weißt, was ich meine? 5 Mal dasselbe gehört. Mich hätte es gefreut, wenn sie wenigstens auf einen Monat genau gesagt hätten. Zum Beispiel, es kommt September 25, Herbst, September 25, so. Hätte mich auch gefreut. Ist aber nicht passiert, ja. Ist leider nicht passiert. Wir werden auf jeden Fall diese Reise voll bekommen und ich denke mal, das wird diesen Monat vielleicht noch passieren. Und dann geht's ab, Digga. Ich werde ein Hotel gegenüber von Rockstar North buchen. Was ist mit Tease2? Viele schreiben Tease2. Hat Tease2 was gepostet? Ich werde auf jeden Fall ein Hotel buchen und ich werde da reingehen und die fragen, was das soll. Ich sag so, eine Frechheit ist sie, was sie da machen. Eine Frechheit ist sie, was da machen. Das sage ich dann. So. Oh, es gibt einiges Neues, ne? Sehe ich gerade. So vor 5 Stunden, das ist uninteressant. So. Der hat aber Sachen nur repostet, oder? Was ist mit Tease2? Showen, was ist mit Tease2? Super Mega hat auch Tease2 geschrieben. Was ist mit denen? Ist er hier im Chat oder was? Nix ist bei Tease2. Der hat einfach ein paar Sachen repostet. Da hat er repostet. Das ist ein Mitarbeiter von Game Awards, ne? Oder ein Teil von Game Awards. Take-Two hat in seinen Quartalsergebnissen erneut erklärt, dass die Veröffentlichung von Grand Theft Auto 6 für Herbst 25 geplant ist. Das ist die einzig gute Nachricht. Von Grand Theft Auto 5 wurde weltweit über 210 Millionen Einheiten verkauft. Deswegen haben sehr viele auch im Stream Boykott GTA 5 geschrieben. Ja, ich sage euch ehrlich, würde sich GTA 6 schlecht verkaufen, ja, dann wären die zu dem Punkt gekommen, GTA 5 schlecht verkaufen, dann wären sie schon längst bei dem Punkt, dass sie das Spiel gedroppt hätten. Weil Tease2 ist nichts Besonderes. Was ist denn bei Tease2 so besonders? Aber es ist halt schwer, Leute. Es ist halt schwer, auf das Spiel zu verzichten, weil das Problem ist, ihr könnt gar nicht so leicht darauf verzichten, weil ihr habt ja Bock, trotzdem GTA 5 zu spielen und das ist ein Teufelskreis. Die wissen ganz genau, was für geile Games die zaubern und deswegen sage ich euch immer wieder, Digga, seid jetzt nicht zu krass blauäugig, ja? Seid nicht zu krass blauäugig, dass ihr sagt, ja, Rockstar Games, Marco und so, ja, die mögen uns, aber die würden uns auch verkaufen, jetzt ohne Spaß. Es ist eine Firma und Firmen geht es darum, Fat Cash zu machen, ja. Die wollen einfach Cash machen. Es ist so, wie es ist. Die wollen Fat Cash machen und wenn es mal nicht so läuft, wie es laufen sollte, dann ändern die was. Aber wenn Geld reinkommt, dann bleibt es auch so. Deswegen, die melken noch GTA 5 bis zum Tode aus und dann geht es erst in GTA 6. Aber GTA 5 lässt sich aber sehr gut melken, ja. GTA 5 ist Ding, Premium-Kuh. Wirklich. Du denkst, sie hört auf mit Milch und dann bekommt sie Schub und läuft auf einmal wieder, ja? RP-Szene hat GTA 5 einfach wiederbelebt. Soll nicht heißen, dass GTA 5 jetzt tot war, aber GTA 5 ohne RP wäre nicht da, wo die jetzt sind. Das ist Fakt. Im Mai, wann der Call ist noch nicht offiziell. Irgendwann im Mai, genau. Im Mai ist er, aber noch nicht offiziell. Genau, und wenn wir schon darüber reden, dieser Mitarbeiter hier, ÜberGaming, oder wie der ausgesprochen wird, hat ja mitgeteilt, dass der hat ja bei GTA 4 gearbeitet und war komplett mit der Produktion dabei. Und der weiß von seinen Leuten, der hat hier vorhergesagt, dass ihr euch keine Hoffnungen machen soll, bla bla bla. Rockstar Games weiß selbst erst 4 Monate, oder besser gesagt erst im Mai Bescheid, wann GTA 6 kommen wird. So war es bei GTA 4 und angeblich auch bei anderen Teilen, ja. Deswegen, Mai sollte es werden, wenn es also im Mai könnte alles passieren, ja. Könnte auch sogar eine Verschiebung kommen. Schade, ne, dass es heute nicht gekracht hat. Ist halt so, wie es ist. Und ja, müssen einfach mal abwarten. Müssen einfach mal abwarten, was passiert. Und ja, was gab es jetzt Neues zu GTA 6? Bis dass das Datum wieder bestätigt wurde. Haben einfach nur gesagt, dass GTA 5 und Red Dead Redemption sehr nice laufen. Und Red Dead Redemption 2 zumindest online-technisch weiterentwickelt wird, weil es so gut läuft. Das ist auch immer so ein Thema. Denkst du diesen Monat noch ein Trailer? Ach so, stimmt, das Thema haben die auch erwähnt. Über den PC haben die auch geredet. Die haben ja gesagt, es wird auf jeden Fall erst nur auf Konsole kommen. Das war schon für viele klar, ne? Ich denke mal, eins in den Chat, für die es klar war. Ich denke mal, für die meisten war es schon klar. 2 für den Chat, nein. Hoffnung war natürlich bei den PC-Spielern immer noch da, dass es vielleicht zusammenkommen könnte. Ja, natürlich verstehe ich auch. Digga, ich würde auch am liebsten auf PC zocken, dann hätte ich mir auch die Konsole nicht gewünscht quasi. Ja, ich habe jetzt eine PlayStation 5 Pro. Wird auch geil werden, wenn wir da drauf streamen. Dann sehen wir auf jeden Fall, ob es Unterschiede geben wird oder nicht. Aber zu dem Thema mit PC, ja, es war eigentlich mehr oder weniger klar. Wann würde jetzt die PC Edition erscheinen? Es gibt da so eine süße Theorie. Und diese findest du hier. So, einen Moment. So, es gibt eine süße Theorie. Und zwar geht es um einen Trailer bei Rockstar Games. Warte mal, hier auf YouTube. So. Ich habe schon eine PS5. Ich habe schon eine PS5. So, Chat, hier gibt es eine geile Theorie. Rockstar Games. Wenn ihr hier... Ah, da war es doch. Das hier anguckt. Da haben wir ein paar wilde Theorien gefunden. So. Würde theoretisch sogar hinhauen. Und zwar hier. Wir haben hier die Kalender. Was war das nochmal? Chinesische Kalenderschlange. Das ist das Jahr 2025, ja. Schlange 2025 und dann haben wir Bock. Oder Ziege oder was ist es? Bock. Ist es eine Ziege oder ist es Bock? Ziege, ne? Da sind die doch. So. Ziege 27. Und die Leute munkeln, dass 2027 mit PC zu tun haben könnte. Das wäre quasi Ende 2025 GTA 6 bekommen auf die Konsole. Achso, sorry. Ihr seht nichts? Jetzt seht ihr doch was, oder? Achso, Chat, sorry, ich habe doch die Cam auf riesig. Sorry. Moment, ich mach's wieder normal, sage ich mal. So. Nee, das ist zu klein. So ist es, ne, normal. Oder? So ungefähr, oder, Ednova? Passt, ne? So. Genau, hier haben welche gemunkelt, dass es mit chinesischen Kalendern zu tun haben soll. Hier die Schlange für das Jahr 2025 und hier die Ziege für das Jahr 2027. Bisschen größer. Okay. So. Passt, ne? Ja, oder wird auf 2027 verschoben, genau. Da wurde schon gemunkelt. Ja, es wird so viel gemunkelt, ne? Was am Ende des Tages stimmt und nicht stimmt, ist die andere Sache. Ja, Digga, bleibt auf jeden Fall spannend. Danke für den schönen Stream heute. Denk mal, ich hau jetzt auch langsam ab, oder Chat? Danke auch für den mega Support heute. Das ist echt crazy, Mann. Schottland bin ich bald unterwegs. Der Real Trevor kommt auf jeden Fall auch mit. Und da werden wir gucken, ja. Da werden wir gucken, was wir machen. Morgen lade ich ein Video hoch. Da werden wir eine Zusammenfassung starten. Bin ein bisschen traurig, aber irgendwo auch glücklich zugleich. Leider ist nicht mehr passiert, als man vom Mindesten ausgegangen ist. Und das Mindeste ist ja passiert, so was man ungefähr erwartet hat. Dass es mindestens das und das passiert und dass das Datum einfach bleibt, ja. Das ist das Ding. Oder wollen wir noch ein bisschen GTA 6 gucken? Chat. Wollt ihr noch was gucken zu GTA 6? Ich habe noch ein paar Sachen vorbereitet. So. Wenn Rockstar Games dich happy machen kann, dann machen wir, ja. So, wie gesagt, die haben jetzt einen Post hinzugefügt. Schau mal, sogar Reddit war auch gehypt, ne? Die dachten, eine Ankündigung kommt. Seht ihr? Reddit ist komplett durchgedreht. Hier einer der Top-Reddit-Beiträge gewesen. Das mit dem Jahr 2025 ist eigentlich mehr oder weniger safe, weil die haben ihr Marketing, obwohl das noch nicht richtig in Gange ist, aber die haben ihr Marketing komplett am Laufen. Bedeutet mehr oder weniger, dass sie sich auf das Jahr 2025 fokussiert haben, ja. ...2025 ist überall sichtbar, auch auf der Website. Wenn man auf Rockstar Games geht official, auf die Website von denen, sieht man überall die 2025, hier auch zu sehen, ja. Wenn man den Trailer anguckt, 2025. Die haben sich auf jeden Fall spezialisiert auf das Jahr und ich denke mal, die wussten schon sehr früh, dass es, ja, das Jahr sein wird, ne? So, hier gab es eine Diskussion mit, was ich euch auch zeigen wollte. Es wird ja immer noch diskutiert, obwohl ich den Beweis gezeigt habe mit dem Leak, dass es einfach nicht sein kann, dass es nicht lustig ist, ja? Das steht seit Gefühl einem Jahr. Genau, genau. Seitdem wussten die wahrscheinlich auch Bescheid. Der erste Trailer, Rockstar Games hat es, glaube ich, wie ich verstanden habe, noch nie so früh mit einem Jahr geprallt. Rockstar Games hat eigentlich immer bis zum zweiten, dritten Trailer gewartet, bis sie überhaupt irgendwas zum Release sagen. Und so hauen die beim ersten Trailer bereits das Datum raus. Es kann natürlich auch sein, dass wir Reddit, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok einfach viel zu gutes Marketing sind. Das kann auch sein, Chat. Und angeblich sollen die Jacken das Datum sagen. 27. was aber? Was bedeutet das? Ich check's nicht. Was heißt das? Ist es irgendwas, was man nicht aussprechen darf, oder was? Guck mal, die Zahlen auf den Jacken. 1 plus 8 ist gleich 9. 17.09., Digga. Du bringst mich gerade auf Ideen. Ey, wenn es... Digga, stell dir vor, das stimmt einfach. Und das ist das Jahr der Ziege, 17.09.2027. 17.09. Ja, da hat ja die Uruguay-Plattform das auch mal gepostet, ne? Uruguay-Plattform hat es ja auch mal gepostet. So, Chat. Wir hauen ab, oder? Ich muss morgen in die Frühschicht. Nächste Woche habe ich einfach 6 Tage Nachtschicht, Digga. Geil, oder? Das ist crazy, Mann. Was habe ich da noch gespeichert gehabt? 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. 17.09. Achso, da, schaut mal. Falls ihr mal mit einem Kumpel diskutiert oder so, schau mal, da sieht man ihren Muttermal. Ja. Da sieht man Hügel im Hintergrund, weil spekuliert wurde, ob es Hügel geben wird oder nicht, ja. Digga. So eine nice Atmosphäre. Digga, eigentlich habe ich voll Bock auf neue Informationen endlich, ne? Und die haben uns einfach rausgeschmissen. So, Chat, in der. Ja, ich hatte ja 5 Tage Nachtschicht normalerweise, aber Meister hat gefragt, ob ich einen Tag länger reinkommen kann, ja. 17.09. ist Sommer. Ist noch Sommer, ne? Wie wäre es, deine Reaktion, wenn sie wirklich das Spiel erst 2027 rausbringen und das an einem 31. Dezember? Boah, Digga. Sternenblut, was ist? Da kann man sehen, dass GTA 6 nach dem 1. Oktober geplant ist. Wie? Wie kommst du drauf? Wie? Sieht man das? Welche PDF von den dreien? Ja, Bro, heute war Spezialevent. Trailer draußen, genau. Wahrscheinlich. Achso, warte mal, ich zeig's dir. Die 1, 2 oder 3 von oben. 1, 2 oder 3. Was ist das? Ich würde es sehen. 3. Wo sieht man das? Ich sehe es noch nicht, ne? Da oben steht es. Aber da steht doch voll auf Kalender 2025. Oder noch weiter oben. Noch ein bisschen weiter oben. Wo steht es denn? Welche Seite ist es? Schau mal, das ist Seite 2. Seite 3. Seite 4. Nein, der trollt nicht. Ich glaube nicht, dass er trollt. Bei GTA 5 Online steht Oktober. Meinst du das hier? Das ist ja GTA Online, oder was meinst du? Oder er schaut, der hat es gerade eben. Hey, der meint, man sieht irgendwo was Esteres? Echt jetzt? Wann kommt GTA 6 jetzt? Herbst 2025 wurde zum 5. Mal jetzt bestätigt. Das GTA 6 Herbst 2025 kommt, sagt der Eule Stand. Genau. Alle, die jetzt dazugekommen sind. Aber jetzt bin ich mal gespannt, was er da gefunden hat. Was haben die noch gesagt? Das GTA 5 sehr gut läuft. Red Dead Redemption läuft sehr gut. Das GTA 6 auf jeden Fall erst auf Konsole kommt und dann auf dem PC. So im Großen und Ganzen, ne? PDF. Vielleicht hat er falsche PDF-Datei angeschaut. Ey, weil wenn das stehen würde, dann wäre es ja was Neues, aber sonst hätten die es ja auch im Dings, im Call erwähnt, oder? 17 Jahre ist er bei Take-Two. Digga, da war ja noch Frischling, als er reinkam, als GTA 5 released wurde. Glaubst du, wir werden in GTA 6 auch alte Städte besuchen können wie LA und New York? Boah, das weiß ich nicht. Project America sollte ja was Großes werden. Ob die das jetzt machen, ist die andere Sache, ne? Wann können wir GTA 6 auf dem PC erwarten? Ich schätze mal 2026, spätestens 2027. Also Ende 2026 oder allerspätestens Ende 2027. Ich glaube, so 8 Monate liegt ungefähr dazwischen. Flamingos sind geil. Aus Mittelfranken. Echt, hört man das raus? Wenn ich es habe, sende ich dir das auf den Discord. Sternblut hat sich bestimmt verguckt. Mist. MRX Spirit, grüß dich. Bin Nürnberger. Ich komme auch aus der Nähe von Nürnberg. Grüß dich. Ey, ÜberGaming, denkst du Trailer 2 noch dieses oder nächsten Monat? Warte, Digga, das ist schwer zu sagen. Was denkt ihr, Chat? Diesen Monat oder nächsten Monat? Oder gar nicht mehr, Digga. Wirklich, echt. Langsam gebe ich auch die Vernunft auf. Langsam, aber sicher ist es so. Ich calle April. April habe ich sehr oft gehört. Ich glaube sogar, Lace hat auch April gesagt. April hat Lace auch gecallt. Digga, crazy, Mann. Hoffnung ist weg. Safe Mai, weil da ist ja 25. Crossplay in GTA 6. Oh, darüber wollte ich sogar demnächst ein Video machen, Chat. Crossplay, da habe ich einiges darüber gelesen. Es wird wahrscheinlich, also die Experten und so vermuten, dass es wahrscheinlich nicht möglich sein wird. Das ist traurig, Mann, wenn es nicht sein wird. Weil die haben ein großes Problem immer mit dem PC gehabt. Und die ganzen Hackern. Und die Hacker können einfach so machen, irgendwelche Daten in die Lobby senden, die nur ein PC empfangen kann. Und dann stürzt die Konsole ab oder das Spiel auf der Konsole oder andersrum. Deswegen haben die das immer wieder ein bisschen getrennt. Vielleicht wird sich das endlich ändern, Alter. Wäre echt ganz cool. Wäre echt ganz cool, ne? Wir werden sehen. Wir werden sehen, Chat. Digga, ich muss jetzt erstmal schlafen, Alter. Ich muss mich da ausruhen. Beim nächsten Mal wird es hoffentlich besser werden. Stell dir vor, beim nächsten Call sagen die einfach, Digga, wir verschieben jetzt einfach. Boah. Boah. Krass. Cosplay wäre geil, ja. Das Ding ist, es wird sogar gemunkelt, dass es vielleicht den Modus geben will, dass man zu zweit auf derselben Konsole zocken will. Coop oder wie das ausgesprochen wird, ja. So, Leute, ich hau jetzt ab. Wir sehen uns und danke, dass ihr dabei wart. Na, ihr seid die Besten. Alle mal ein fettes GG in den Chat. Wir haupen weiter. Wir Hasen, Digga. Und nicht vergessen, ein Follow dazulassen, wenn ihr es noch nicht gemacht habt, damit ihr den nächsten Stream nicht verpasst. Wir werden trotzdem alle Infos zusammenfassen und wer weiß, vielleicht wird die ein oder andere Info auch demnächst durchsickern, weil lange kann es nicht mehr auf sich warten. Irgendwann platzt einem der Kragen und dann wird eskaliert, ne, Chat. Nicht vergessen, auch den ÜberHighlights-Kanal abzuchecken. Der ist jetzt frisch YouTube-Partner geworden. Und danke für den Mega-Support. Ein sehr emotionaler Tag. Ein riesen Meilenstein, der da gekracht wurde. Geknackt, gekracht, gebechbet, alles, was du willst, Digga. Ich gehe jetzt eine Runde NBA spielen. Digga, NBA auf die 1. Nur deswegen waren wir doch alle hier, Chat. Seid doch ehrlich. Nur wegen NBA. NBA. Gute Nacht, ja. Schlaft schön. Bis morgen. Tschüss. Danke euch für alles, ja. Und für den Mega-Support natürlich. So, jetzt muss ich irgendwie hier ausmachen hier, ne? Bye, bye.
Also abonniere jetzt, bleib am Ball. ÜberHighlights, das ist der Kanal. Mit GTA 6 und Gaming nonstop. Hol dir die Highlights, jetzt geht's richtig ab.